Mikey P, Mike Pribozie here, Harness Players Podcast, live edition, seated pool for Yonkers on a Monday night. Now, they have their big final for the MGM Pacing Series. A little Harness Players Podcast here with a couple harness experts. Jeff Bridges apparently joined us here. I really didn't know you were into harness racing, Jeff, but welcome to the show.
Neither did I, Mike, and let me tell you, I know you love all of my movies, and you're not going to name any of them for sake of time, because there's so many. Tron, Big Lebowski, Tiny Lebowski, Mid-Sized Lebowski. They got all of them, and I was in all of them.
I think we found somebody more famous than you, Thomas Svensen, back from Vegas, and we always respect his opinion, especially for Yonkers. So, Thomas, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. The Vegas was red number, so I need some dollar back. So I hope we can get something back on Yonkers.
Well, Yonkers Monday night. Now it's race 5 tonight. Starts 50-cent pick 5, but seated pool. So what does seated pool mean? That means the SOA of New York is starting the pool with $10,000 worth of free money, and it's a $40,000 guaranteed pool. So basically it eliminates the takeout on this pick 5 up to a certain point and certainly minimizes that takeout. So like having carryovers, this is like having a $10,000 carryover into this pick 5 pool. It starts in race number 5 tonight. And we got some nice races here for this pick 5. Starts with numbers of 20,000, last 5 on the pace, Ray or Jeff. I don't know. Who are you going by yourself? I don't know what to call you right now.
I look in the mirror most days and I forget who is there. So it doesn't really matter. This is an interesting sequence, though. There's some races later where you have some really strong morning line favorites, which I think also opens the door for some value opportunities, considering I don't know how necessarily strong they might be. But the kickoff leg is certainly interesting because to me, it's do you take Rock Diamonds for what he looks like, which is one that's going to go to the lead. No one's going to want to challenge him and he just goes down the road. Or do you go against him with some of the inside horses? I'm not really a big fan of some of these outside ones. Burnham Boy, Walkinshaw, Cyrus. I don't really know how
Burnham Boy actually scratched. So that's one little update.
That's especially why I'm not into. I don't like betting horses that are scratched because I don't know if you know statistically, Mike, they tend to not win. But the inside horses, they raise question marks too. Like, I don't know what to do with Fun at the Beach in this spot. I look down his page and I see he's been putting in some okay efforts given tough draws. But you know, Thomas knows this horse too. He's capable of doing really nice things and of being better than many inside of this field. A lot just comes down to how the cards shake. And you look back 4 starts ago when the race fell apart, he was able to win at 74-1. But otherwise, it's kind of here or there or at lower classes where he's able to do any type of good. So, I mean, he's one that catches my eye. I don't really know if I want to take Hayesville on the move up in class. He seems like one that's somewhat cheaper. I am interested in Southwind Peter at 5-1, though, just given that inside draw. Seems like he fits this company, might be able to get a bit more forwardly placed. And as long as he's at least, within 2 or 3 lengths of the leader, I think he stands some type of shot because Rock Diamonds is one that he can go pillar to post. He can take them all the way around, but he's a short price. That's really the only way he can win this. And I don't really see value in just chalking out inside of the opening leg. I would rather get knocked out by the favorite than lose to a horse that isn't the favorite inside of the opening leg here.
Rock Diamonds, 13 wins this year so far in 24 starts. So certainly putting in work for an 11-year-old. He's made over 200,000. Thomas, you for or against this one? I thought this was pretty wide open start to this pick 5.
Yeah, he has been amazing for Buongiorno after he claimed him. So, and we know with the speed guy, George Brennan, we know we're going to go to the front. So I think it is. I don't going to start with a single. I have a little value play, I hope, a little later. I think Sotum Petier, it's interesting from the rail. I think also Anthony Napolitano is a better driver to bet on Yonkers than he is on Poconos. He is very aggressive and on the half. I think he is also also driving very much on a motocross. I think something like that helps people going into the turns on Yonkers. He's not a afraid driver, and like that, he takes a chance. Anthony Napolitano, he takes at least do something for your money if you try to bet him. So I'm gonna have number 1 Sultan Petty on my pick 5. I also Rock Diamonds is gonna be a big favorite. Then I think number 4 Fun at the Beach. It's a little interesting in Hazelville. I'm not a big fan of What's Up Sunshine, so I'm standing on 4 horses on my pick 5.
Yeah, I agree on Rock Diamonds. I think a must use, just given the pace scenario, the latest win, and that was an easy win too, and certainly controls this race. Hard not to use Fun at the Beach for me. I've always liked this horse. I've liked him versus better horses. He's had tough draws recently, and he's capable off his best. He's still won 7 races this year, so he just finds a way. The thing about Southwind Peter for me, and I do think he can win, but I do think he's going to take money in this race. I do think he's a grinder, and he has lots of shares this year, 13 shares in 25 starts or 26 starts. So now he won 9 races last year. In that last race, he was facing, a horse that was repeating, was crushing on the front end. I don't know what to do with this one. I do think probably could fall into the right trip, probably can win. I'd probably be more of a B type for me. So I would be 4-5 on the A line, maybe a little 1 on the B line there.
Well, I mean, if you're going to chalk out in the first leg, what do you do then in leg 2? Because you got that even money morning line to the inside, Stonebridge Rex. I mean, you look down his page back in May and April before he went on layoff. He was in against Way Tougher, doing well against Way Tougher. And now off of that win, he's dropping in class. Like, there's so many weird moves on this horse that he seems like a single or bust type guy. And are you going to single with him, or are you going to try and go against him?
I don't know what to do with him. I feel like, the meet's going to wrap up here soon. I don't know, to win for 50 like he did. And he won big. I mean, it was, got to the stretch and kicked away like they were standing still. 7 wins this year. He was in for 75 claimers back in May and winning. Now they drop him in for 40. Like, I don't know what to do. I could see keying him on a ticket and then maybe playing backups with the 4, 5, and 6 because they're the most logical horses. The 4 and 6 dueled each other around the racetrack last time for 40 and, ended up 1-2 there. They went a pretty quick third quarter in that race. I could see those other horses, but I'm curious to see what Thomas says because he might have some perspective, especially from the ownership kind of side here.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan. Like why do they? He was competing decent in a 75 claimer. He got sick. He come back now in November. He has been racing okay in 50 claimer, and 1 in the 50, dropping down to 40. Why did he have the break? Was he injured? There is something there. I don't like to single horses like that is dropping when he don't need to drop. It looks for me they just want to get rid of him, and I would be shocked if nobody claims him for 40. So, and he was a big favorite November 18 from the same post, and he come home 30-2 as a big favorite. So I'm gonna go against him. We have the little older grinder, Mac and Cheese. I think he can be a little value play. He's definitely on his best, good enough to go up against these horses. I think Mac Kakeli have a decent horse there in the Bird Dance coming up. A little wide out there. He is on my ticket, and number 4 around midnight. We know Brent Holland is very aggressive. He don't care if it is a big favorite in the lead. Sometimes when he's driving for Dennis Laterza, they're going to be gunning out there. So I wouldn't be shocked if he tries to gun him out and see where it can be. Maybe going to get parked, but then definitely Stonebridge Rex is not going to win this race. So I'm going to try to beat the big favorite. There's too many red flags for me.
Yeah, I got to hope that the computerized morning line creates some type of weight in how this is played, because there just seems like too many things going against that inside horse, especially like you mentioned, Thomas, 2 starts ago. He got outfooted from the pylon post, and then when he had to go against the 8 ball, he really didn't have much of a response. And that's not even going into consideration off of that win was 2 weeks ago against the 50,000 claimers. He hasn't raced in like 14 days. Now he's coming back on the drop. There are lots of questions around that, where no matter the caliber of horse, you'd think that some of these other ones they're no-brainers to go. I feel like Around Midnight is probably the best horse in form that's with a shot inside of this race. But I also I'm not opposed to Mock and Cheese, especially being 10-1 on the morning line. Austin Siegelman should be able to muster some type of speed from him. And it goes to that angle, too, of if they can outfoot the one to the first turn, maybe Mock and Cheese is in a good spot. He didn't last time. He ended up getting well beaten second behind Mindhunter against 40,000. But, against this type of group, with a horse that maybe flounders on the rim as the favorite, things could work out for him as a long shot. So I'm pretty much on the same page as you inside of this race. 3-4.
I could see the 5 a little also.
I cannot, but keep going.
Well, I mean, this is a drop that makes sense, though. I mean, this horse was racing well earlier this year, was kind of struggling in 50s back in October. A couple qualifiers, one at Pocono, one at Philly, comes back and races okay against a lot of these horses and was moving forward late. Now, they won a big third quarter in that race, like I said, and this horse had a hard time keeping up. But then in the stretch, he came on again, and that was off, a couple month layoff. So this horse fits versus these horses. I mean, 15 wins the last 2 years. He's 8-1 morning line. And especially if the one takes the money he's going to take, there's a lot of these that are in play here. So I do think that's another one worth using and a pretty wide open race, number 6.
Thomas is perplexed by your pick when he puts the glasses on and goes, let's see here.
Let's go to race 7. There's a 15,000, last 5. They're going for 19,000. We got Birthday. We got Blue Hunts. Thomas, what do you like here?
I take a shot there on a single on the pick 5. At least they're going to have value for the money to the home stretch. I'm going with number 1, Birthday. I think Yannick going to be aggressive, protecting the rail. We all know with Blue Hunt what he can do when he is on his A game, but he is so lazy. He don't want to pass a horse. He is so lazy. So definitely going to try to get the helmet from Birthday. You have Outlaw Man from everything from me when you see the class on Birthday, the connection with Burke and Yannick. He has been racing against better horses, and some of this Blue Hunt on his best is maybe the best horse, but he don't want to pass a horse. He has been big favorite many times. He don't want to win. I take a shot on Yannick. At least I'm going to be in front till we come home. So I hope he just dig in the last 116 of a mile.
It's crazy to me that's the same Blue Hunt that was third to Line Drive Hanover in the Mohawk Gold.
Yeah, that was
right.
Yeah.
And now here he is in a 15,000.
When we all the time want to have a driver change on, when we got Tim T. What was the name on the guy? Alex
Chartrand. Yeah, my pal Joe.
Yeah.
Famous 146 pacer, my pal Joe. Had Blue Hunt before. It's interesting that you say that, Thomas, because I would have thought that Birthday would be better in the pocket to Blue Hunt. Because just from what I remember him as a 3-year-old and even as a 2-year-old, he was one that when you gave him a helmet, he was actually more productive than when he was on the lead. Granted, you look down his page, he's been able to win on the lead over this track at least once. No other time has he really been able to do it. So at least for me, I can understand your angle because he's the second choice on the morning line. There is a chance given, the connections of Blue Hunt, given the 147-4 mark being super flashy, maybe he's the favorite inside of this race. But honestly, I would hope that if I have Birthday, Yannick's in the 2-hole. But of course, with being at Yonkers, that's also a precarious proposition since there's no passing lane. So it's a tricky spot to want a horse to be in trip-wise. At this oval specifically, but you look outside of those two. This is a race where you have 2 horses that at their prime could be stakes factors against overnights. It's like one of those weird races you get at the Meadowlands in July where it's a bunch of numbers of 20,000 and then Twin B Joe Fresh is here for some reason. You know what I mean? So it's tough to really try and take any of the other ones, especially given how this race drew, where the big 2 have the best 2 posts. It makes sense to try and pick the coin flip. And I'm in agreement that Birthday is probably the better end of that flip.
Well, Birthday was in front in the invite back in October. I mean, it was sub 4-1 there versus like Rock and Roll Runa. So, I mean,
and he lost,
but he's been facing better. And I've always sort of liked him, and he likes to win. Another 17 wins the last 2 years. And he's got to be right there early. Like Thomas says, Blue Hunt's a little unpredictable. I could see maybe, I don't know if the 4 Outlaw Man can beat these 2 horses. But you get Scotty Z now, which is an interesting driver switch. This horse is from off the pace. You get a little bit more of a drop. This horse was coming back off the bench and is lightly raced this year, only 11 starts. Now, he might not be, he's obviously not as good as the top two, but he could trip out in this race, especially if the 1 and 2 go after it. So he would be a horse that I would want to use in here. I know he's 9-2 morning line. I think he's going to be a little more than that. And he certainly would play a lot better in pick 5s than the 1 and the 2.
Mm-hmm. But the class is a big question for him inside of this race.
Question.
But, you know, if the 1 gets lazy on the lead and the 2 doesn't want to pass, stranger things have happened.
Race 8, MGM Grand Prix Invitational Pacing Series. They're going for $250,000. Ray. Lots of nice horses in here. 7 colors. El Rey. There's Coach's Corner. No Desperate Man.
No desperate man. Probably, I guess, not as desperate as we thought. He doesn't need the $125,000 check that comes with winning this race, or even less than that. Good for him, honestly. You win $1 million race in your career, you can't really be that desperate at that point. But how about a horse like Coach's Corner? He's made $500,000 and really only would get headlines because, for the most part, he's like an overnight guy. He's tried sometimes in stakes races and he's gotten checks. He's been able to land onto the tickets and things like that, but he's never really had like a big breakthrough moment. And he's been stellar the entire year for Per Engblom. I'm not really concerned with that outside draw, but honestly, I don't think a lot of people are going to be either. He's going to take a lot of money inside of this race just because of how in form he always is, how consistent he always is. You give him a helmet, he'll explode off it. You put him on the lead, he'll figure it out. The versatility really just makes him a strong asset on the pick 5 inside of this race. But unfortunately, doesn't create value because he's incredibly obvious, as is, I think, the only other horse that stands a really good chance, 7 colors. He was good early in the season. I'm curious what exactly went wrong because around the summer, he kind of went a little sour. And then all of a sudden, as it got cold, he really started picking up steam again. I was able to get second in the Breeders' Crown, capitalizing on the collapsing pace, and then he was able to carry that into a 3rd place finish in the FanDuel. Has been doing well inside of the series, won the last prelim for the MGM series, gets a much better draw than Coach's Corner too, so it seems like Scott Zeron should be able to work a suitable trip for him to try and do well. But beyond that, I feel like Nandolo's kind of past his prime, but, he gets a good draw, so maybe he's an exotic use. Adam 12, quite frankly, I didn't really get through Adam 11, so I don't know how good he is. El Rey is a big track horse. Typhoon Banner, I think, is going to be an underlay. Even though he gets an okay draw, he might be able to eke through. But if he's going to be like 4 or 5 to 1 against horses like Coach's Corner and 7 colors, who can hold their own on the grand circuit, I have a tough time going with a horse like him. American Dealer, the same thing. And what Stanley got has the 8 hole. He would need them to go 120 to 3/4 and then fall down to the top of the stretch. So I'm kind of left to use the 2 chalks inside of this race, unfortunately. But the plus side, they're really good horses and stand a good chance to win.
Coach's Corner did win the Garrity this year at Saratoga half-mile track. Certainly loves this racetrack. 7 colors, definitely in form, especially recently, is running into some of the top ones. A Buck-a-Bet has been on a roll, and this horse has raced pretty well. I think the draw certainly suits. Thomas, where are you at here?
I'm on the same page as Ray and Jeff. It's I was thinking about taking a shot on 7 colors, but when I had Single on Birthday, I'm gonna be too deep in this race. But I think 7 colors. I'm loving the driver switch. I know Jason Bartlett is the king of Yonkers, but if there is one guy who can outdrive Jason Bartlett on Yonkers when it's money on the line, it's Scott Zeron. So and 7 colors. I think when he didn't was on his A game during the summer, we need to remember he was all shipping all over the US and Canada. He was in Indiana, and then he was in Poconos, and then he was up in Woodbine. So, and especially in the summer, shipping around there with the boys, it's taking much out of them. He's coming back now. He won the post draw, but it's a mile and 1:16, so that helps Coach's Corner with the 7 hole. It's not so bad. It was with it just a mile. You have the stretch 1:16 more to before the turn comes. So I'm too deep they are definitely the best 2 horses.
I do think the 2 and the 7 are the most likely winners. I do feel like that. I know El Rey's a big track horse, and he gets a different pilot here, but he's faced some tough horses recently. I mean, was in the Potomac Pace, was in the FanDuel final, was able to win leg 1 of this series back on November the 4th. So he fits with these horses. Now, the last race was not very good, and that's an issue. But again, if you get a race where maybe it sets up his kick, I think he can win. I do think the 1 is worth a use underneath. I do think Nandolo, with this draw, Lauren Tritton certainly driving very well. No chance the last couple races here. Was able to win leg 1 also by a nose at 30-1. This horse has tons of class. It's made almost $1 million. So I do think if you're going to use horses, maybe not to win it, but I think in multis, the 1 is certainly interesting. Nice race though, MGM. These invites here have certainly led to some good racing in the fall and towards the winter, Ray.
I think El Rey is one of the most expensive horses for me. So I think he have got enough money for me. I tried to get him so many times when he was 3, when he was still with Tony and stuff like that. So I agree. I love El Rey, but he haven't developed what I think. I think it was going to be like one really, really, really top horse.
Thomas, I think you were giving your money to the wrong Ray. Now that I think about it,
Yeah.
Not a conflict of interest saying that though. It's just kind of speculating.
Let's go to race 9 to finish up. 30 claimers. Thomas, how are we going to get paid?
It's a good question. I think Saddle Up going to be a decent favorite, and he has been on his A game, but he's been like changed his third time from Scott Domenico to Nicolas De Vita now to Dennis Latarza. We're going to have the speed guy, Brent Holland. It's going to be going to the first quarter to go to the lead. I don't know what to say about this race. It's like 30 claimer. I think the value play is from the 8 hole. 6-1 morning line, 2-faced Yannick Greengrass. It's not easy to get a horse to win from the 8 hole, and that horse has been changing trainers every week. Michael Forte has been doing okay with him getting back from the rail there. Maximus Red A going to take some money. Buongiorno with Mac Kelly from the rail. It's wide open this race. I need to have many horses. I would be happy if I could have all 8 on my ticket, because I think this race here, it's not like I'm super high on Saddle Up.
Tons of speed in here. Lots of horses that have taken turns winning 30 claimers. I mean, the 3 won a 30 claimer on the 2nd of December. The 4 won on the 9th. So a lot of these horses are taking turns beating each other. One horse that I thought was interesting was the 2 Real Peace, third start back off the layoff. 4 Per Engblom gets a perfect draw. Was making up ground late from the 7 post last time at 33-1. I do think gets a setup here. I don't know if he can find a way to get there, but he is a closer in a race filled with speed. Ray, who do you like?
Even you look back to when he was, quote unquote, in form racing at the winter last year, also noting he lost the whole year to whatever. But even when he was in form, he's an even type Real Peace. He doesn't really have a lot of speed.
He draws well for a hot barn and a race that he's going to get a setup in. That's all.
But I don't see him ever really breaking 55 in a race where, a lot of these horses, they can go 54, 53. Like, I have a hard time just taking a short price on Real Peace. I only say short price because when you see Bartlett and Engblom together, you just have to kind of presume that's going to take some action, given how potent they both have been all season at Yonkers. I was curious what the claim percentage is on Dennis Laterza, just because this is an interesting pickup on Saddle Up. I know him and Holland usually do really well together. I've never really paid too close attention of how well Laterza does off the claim. But, Saddle Up looks like he's in good enough form that no matter what, he should be able to just...
42% win on Laterza from claim. Wow. on 90 starts.
Okay, so Thomas is telling me I should maybe single Saddle Up.
Yeah, it's crazy numbers. 42% on 90 starts.
So Saddle Up is going to be singled on 42% of my tickets, and the other 58% may use the 4. I'm a power play. Who's also coming off a Laterza claim, speaking of, but now with Nick Sedano. that's a closer who could maybe capitalize if things get Western. Granted, I don't really know how fast this race is going to go because the other horse I kind of like, Memphis, Tennessee, making the 4th start for D. Domenico. Look down the page here at this 30,000 class. 3 starts ago, it went nuclear, and Memphis, Tennessee was able to win 19-1. But in the other 2 editions of this class, they crawled to the half in 58 seconds. There's a part of me that feels like this race really could bleed in that direction. Which maybe helps Saddle Up if Holland blasts him. If he ends up having to go uphill, that could make it whoever gets to the lead having the advantage. But Memphis, Tennessee, at least 8-1, kind of intrigues me as a B type. Maybe able to get close is at least always in the hunt against these horses. The post is a little bit of a concern, but the price might be okay considering Saddle Up. More than likely probably wins this race because 42% off the clip. It's going to be 43 or 44. I don't know how it works.
A couple little tidbits. Sloppy track at Yonkers. So that might change a little bit. Real P7 wins on the off track, Ray, in case you're interested in that. Could change the way you look. So make sure just to take that into consideration. Final thoughts, pick 5 here on a Monday night with some extra incentive to play. So, Ray, little final thoughts here, and we're going to finish up.
Yeah, so how betting pools work is that they all have money, and then the money goes into a pool, and then the racetrack goes, actually, this much is mine. Thank you very much. And what the SOA is doing is, that money's going to the racetrack, but then out of their pockets go, actually, let's put that money back in. And what do you have there, Mike? Like you said at the start of the show, the pool is intact. None of that well, the racetrack gets to keep money, but all of the money that's in play, for the most part, in play. You don't get those opportunities that often in racing. More often in racing, you put your money into the pool and forget takeout. The racetrack just goes, thank you, you lost your bet, and you got no money left. But
you know what the takeout in Scandinavia is on pick 5?
It's got to be 3% because you guys do everything right.
No. It's sorry, it's insane. It's 30%.
Really?
Oh, okay. Well, you guys,
because the only money in Scandinavia we get to the purses is on the betting. We have no casinos and no staking, so that's the only money they get to pay to the horsemen is from the betting. So
what you're saying, Thomas, is when we have casinos, we're still charging 30% on the takeout in some places.
Yeah, it's and like I've never understand that. It was hard for me to understand in the beginning with the guaranteed. Why does gamblers and bettors on the pick 5 and the pools there need a guarantee to go to the window? Like just take a Red Mile as the track, beautiful races, Grand Circuit. They don't have any pools. Because they don't have any special guarantees, and nobody gonna. I don't bet the Red Mites because they don't have any pools. So that's like, I wish like some other tracks could have bigger, like Woodbine. They have the guarantee pick 500,000.
Well, yeah, the pick 5 was 100,000 for a little bit.
Now they're at 75.
Yeah, on the winter is 75.
Yeah.
But still, the thing is that inside a pari-mutuel pool, it's not like sports betting. Where sports betting, it tells you, if LeBron does a touchdown, then we're gonna give you $10,000, and then you go, wow, cool. In racing, you're capped at how much everyone else is participating. So the nice thing with the guarantee is you see, okay, there's at least going to be 40,000 in play. Unlikely you're going to be the only person to have the ticket, but you could hit for $40,000 in that case. That's what it's telling you. Versus
I love when Yonkers do it like that because like this is the only time I bet on when there is a guarantee pool, because at least with the guarantee pool on 40, we're going to see at least 50, maybe closer to 60,000 in the pick 5 pool today. So
exactly, it tells you that there is going to be activity that you could potentially capitalize on. And in those cases, when you have that much money in the pool, it can go both ways. You can dilute payouts because you could have a lot of people landing on similar combinations, but it also more heavily rewards you when you're able to land on the more obscure combos because there's just more money in play for you to win on. You can make a ticket at other tracks that pays 200, pay 400 in these types of
the biggest thing I've seen in America to win money on the pick 5 pools is many of American bettors, they don't like to have singles.
Mm-hmm.
They like to go 2, 3 and deep, 2 deep, 3 deep.
Because
So if you can get out 1 time or 2 times longer than 6-1, then 95 of the pool is away.
Mm-hmm. And you know, again, the guarantee tells you what the magnitude of that is. 95% of 40,000. That's much more than 95% of 20.
But like when we done the Scandinavian stuff, I would love in the future if we can see where the money is in the multi.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we know, if I gonna go and bet like a $500 pick 5 today, if I know birthday is a 60% of the money in the pick 5, I don't gonna single him.
Right.
But if he is 35% and Blue Hunt is 55, then I'm gonna single him. I have no clue.
Yeah,
I have no clue. I want to know where the money is.
Yeah.
Huge advantage. I hope that we are in 2024. I see drones is flying over my head here in New Jersey every day.
Oh, really? I took a break just to do this podcast. I'm surprised they're still flying overhead.
Yeah, but I hope, and I'm next to the big military base here.
Sure, you want to be giving this information out?
It's crazy. I want to in the future see that some in the USTA or the guys who is running this system over here, that we can see where the money is.
And I definitely think drones could be a part of that. You just fly a drone into the tote board, and then it brings the math back to the tote wherever hub.
Yeah, but it's like you just think about it. If you're single in the last there, if saddle up is just the 25% Ray in the pick 5, you're gonna then Jeff and Ray gonna single him.
No, exactly, and it's crazy that the Swedes have had. How long have they had that for the V75?
We had it all since I can't remember.
Since you were a little boy. How long ago?
We had it all the time. We know the percentage on all horses in the multis, in the pick 7, pick 6, pick 5, pick 4. We wouldn't have, and the same in France, who is the biggest betting country on harness racing in the world. We wouldn't have any bettors in France if you didn't have that information. They will boycott everything. The same thing with equipment, shoeing information, and bike information. They wouldn't go to the window. They will have they wouldn't put $1 in on it.
Well, currently at Yonkers, post time for race 2 is delayed, so you have some extra time to study those forums. Hopefully they get that straightened out, and this will not all be for naught. But on a Monday night, 40,000 guaranteed pool for Yonkers with the seated 10,000. Certainly a nice opportunity. And jump in on that pool. This is a nice pool to jump into. We hope we appreciate the relationship with Yonkers here at In the Money Media. And I do think that next year we're going to have some more content with them. I was out in Arizona this past week and met with some of the people from a couple of different racetracks. So the beat's going to go on for us. I appreciate you guys coming and doing this podcast, and enjoy the races. We'll see you guys next time.
And if they cancel, you get your money back. So
that's true.
Yeah.